How to get stacked orders on DoorDash. Hey, let's talk about it. Okay, first of all, I had somebody ask me the other day, uh, how do I get stacked orders? Well, the first thing that you need to know is it's a computerized mess. But if you want to do it, you can. It just means you get more orders in a real short amount of time, and then you have to go deliver them all. But the problem is you need to check every order and make sure that the food is there with the representative of the store, because you're not supposed to touch the food, um, because the orders really need to be right. And the problem is a lot of these stores are refusing to do it. They have really bitter employees, and they do not even feel like it. They're like, yeah, that's it. You know, that's the one for Charles. Yeah, that's it. So it creates a problem because we get it in our ratings, if we don't deliver everything we're supposed to be delivering. Um, so here's the thing. If you're going to do stacked orders, you need to look at some of my vlogs on DoorDash Cater Drive orders, because you can't take stacked orders unless you have enough hot bags, because you're going to get rated on if that food's hot or cold. And if you bring them trash, there's some people that are in a brand new house and they don't even have a microwave to heat it up in, or they're in a hotel with no microwave, and they expect the food to be hot. There's some people really like hot food. I don't. I kind of like medium temperature food, but um, that's really important for your ratings, because you could take a bunch of these stacked orders and 8 of them are cold, and you get bad ratings on those, and it just ruins you. You have less chance to get good orders. But I mean, I'm all for it if you want to do stacked orders. I have a friend of mine named Kingfish down in Tampa area, Tampa, Clearwater, Florida, and he'll just stack them like pancakes. But he's good at it. He's really good at it. But you've got to have enough hot bags. You got to have enough ice chests to put, your beverages in, your ice cream, whatever it is you're carrying that's cold, your salads. And do check with the store and say, is this a hot sandwich or a cold sandwich? Because you don't want to put a hot sandwich in a cold bag, or an ice chest, and you don't want to put a cold sandwich into a hot bag. It needs to be an ice chest with ice packs. So, because, it's tourist season, it's summer, there's a lot of traffic, and you could test it out by just putting some food into your bag from a to-go place and drive down the street the average amount of miles you normally drive on an order, say 5 or 6 miles, and then open the bag and see how hot or cold it is. Especially that DoorDash bag, that's just garbage. That's not even good enough to just carry like napkins and cups and straws, because it just doesn't heat. We tried it one time with some Taco Bell stuff, and I drove right down the street 3 miles, and the food was already cold. And some of these restaurants are leaving the stuff on the counter instead of under a heat box. They're not used to doing a lot of to-goes, but they're forced to because of Corona. So they're trying to get as much food out as they can. Now, the ones that are registered with DoorDash to sell have to pay anywhere from 20 to 30% of every single order, which really kills you on food, because you really don't make that much money on food. You make money on liquor in the bar and restaurant business. So they're just trying to make those pennies and keep people working, because a lot of people are out of work. So stacked orders, make sure you're prepared. You better have a lot of these, okay? And I have videos on where to get cheap ones or whatever, what we'll do. And then the next thing is you need to go to places where you'll get a lot of stacked orders. So Chick-fil-A is a good one, and especially if that's a hot spot in your area. That's a good place to get a lot of stacked orders. And then your next one is all the cheapy to-go places. You know, like Taco Bell, Wendy's. Popeyes is a real big one in the Fort Walton area. And Baskin Robbins. Not a cheap place, but anyway. Baskin Robbins ice cream. And Whataburger. Any of these cheap to go places will be the best. These are the tops in the Fort Walton area. So if you want a lot of um, stacked orders, these would be the place to go. Okay? And just park there and you'll get plenty. Because while you're waiting, they'll throw you some more orders. I'm no fan of stacked orders. Really, I'm not. But you do it if you wish. And the next thing with stack orders, if you're on peak pay, usually the next stacked order that you receive while you're on an order is going to be minus the peak pay. They're making you an offer, cutting you a deal to see if you'll take that next order. And when you push, you know, the button accept, then you own it. So, to me, I think it hurts the peak pay a lot sometimes. And since they straightened the peak pay out now to where you get it no matter what, instead of their big game of you have to accept 80% off it, and they send you 6 offers that are 40 miles from where you're at that you have to decline, you lose the peak pay. But now it's better. They've changed it. Make sure to check your updates on the app. And it would be good if you would do it before you start your shift every day and get those downloaded immediately. They're always changing the website and the servers. So you need to have your app running or it will crash. And sometimes it just crashes because of overload. A lot of people are using it. They don't want to come outside because of Corona. So the to-go business is really booming. It's just unreal. I don't think restaurants are even worrying about making seating inside, because if they're doing to-go with any of these gig apps, they're flying high. Especially if they've been nominated. I nominated a lot of the restaurants in certain areas that I've started across the states, and so they don't have to pay for the DoorDash. But there's other restaurants that have actually paid for the DoorDash, and they have to buy their cards, and they have to pay for the service, and they have to go buy an iPad to run it on and everything else. And some of them don't understand that you don't push food ready if the food's not ready. Because the whole way that DoorDash was designed was for the customer to make an order. The order goes to the store, and then the store determines the time that it takes to make the food. And back before it was mostly computerized, you know, DoorDash rep used to call the store and go, okay, I want this, this, and this for Julie. And then how long will it take for it to be ready? And then they'll go, okay, 20 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever. And then they would wait and then send a dasher, you know, at that 20 or 30 minutes. And then what happens is the dasher gets over there and the food is ready and they go. But, you know, that's the way it was designed. It wasn't designed for dashers to stand around and wait. It really was not. And I've picked up orders where 4 dashers declined the order because they stood around and waited. I was at a place the other night, a dinner house, and it took 1 hour for the food to be ready. And I was like, no. And it was rice, okay? Rice. Come on. So anyway, but yeah, that's how you do stacked orders. If you're interested, but you do need to be set up for it. Don't wish too hard for what you might want, because then when you get it, you might never really wanted it at all. You've got to be set up to do those stacked orders. You cannot just take piles of stuff in your car and try to run it all around town and try to get it all delivered and it's hot or cold like it's supposed to be. The whole idea of DoorDash gets a lot of lawsuits because the food quality doesn't equal what it is to sit inside the restaurant and eat it. So that's why people sue. They're like, that is not the quality of food we serve. because of your drivers. Well, that's true. The food should come to the customer just like they would have it in the dinner house. Okay? And that's your responsibility. You're the driver. You are supposed to make sure it stays hot or cold. That's why a lot of stores will say you can't even have the food unless you have a hot bag, or they will turn you away. They'll report you to DoorDash if you don't come in with that hot bag. Okay? Especially like Baskin Robbins. You don't come in with a sufficient cold bag or ice chest, they're going to tell you bye-bye, and they'll push the button on their computer or call DoorDash, and another driver will be sent because there's 5 of them waiting right behind you. So do it right or don't do it at all, because you're going to hate it when you lose an order because you can't bring your hot bag in. And I have vlogs about branded dashers and going and buying really cheap bags. And that's a tax write-off. Your supplies are a tax write-off. So you can start immediately before your DoorDash bag comes, because it's really no good. You can go in the restaurant and pick up the food. I use like $60 and up bags. And I even had one of our signature stores in Destin, a couple times, an ignorant little girl that worked there says, "That's not a DoorDash bag." It's like, well, let me explain something to you. This bag is a $60 Eskimo bag with ice packs in it. And my other bag is, an $80 hot bag, which will keep the food hot for 2.5 hours, and you may inspect it. And it's got 1.5 inches of insulation and all that kind of stuff. And as long as you bring your hot and cold bags in, they're clean on the outside and the inside, then you most probably won't get refused. And do watch your mouth when you're in these stores. Now, if you have an employee that continually harasses you, do take the time sometime to visit with a manager of that store and talk to them very, very, very nicely. And say, it hurts because when I come here, they're so mean to me, or I'm just doing my job. I'm required to check the food. I'm a delivery person. I have to deliver what the customer ordered. That's the thing. I'm delivering what the customer ordered. Okay? So, there you go. So there's stacked orders. And if you want them, hop to it. Because there they are. By the tons. You won't have any trouble. Because 90% of the time, if you're standing there waiting for your order, you're going to have a whole bunch of them fly right behind them. And if you want to accept them, you go right ahead. It's a good thing if you want to fly stacked orders. Make sure you got a really good Garmin GPS so you can key in all those different addresses. Because sometimes the app will flip them around and send you a different way. It's... and be quick about it, get them delivered, because sometimes, orders are hard to come by. There's so many people dashing now and more people coming on that you might not get an order for an hour. So you really got to use your time wisely. The more orders you can put out in an hour, the better off you will be. But generally, you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 orders an hour, depending on your area, depending on the stores, how many there are, and how many dashers are working that day. It just depends. But a good stacker can stack, 8 or 9 orders at one time and spend their time running that out. And they get a much better average, but you've got to have a big enough car. You've got to have the hot bags and ice chests. There's no doubt about it. And you've got to be able to label these orders. So you bring a permanent marker. And you that tied up bag or whatever, or sealed bag, you write the name in big letters. But you've got to keep track, because you cannot go back into the app and read what food was on that order. So you better know. You've got to label the drink. You've got to label any extra bags that go with that order. Or you have to use separate hot bags like I do. and one hot bag as that person, and write the name on their bag and put it in your hot bag. And then the next order is in this other hot bag, and you write the name on one of their bags and the name on their drink. So you gotta really keep it together, because you will not get to go back and see those food orders once you've picked up. Okay, so there it is. I hope you enjoy, and yes, you can make huge money doing stacked orders, but it's up to you. And again, these things are tax write-offs: your hot bags, your ice chest, your little ice packs. I have vlogs about that, so go ahead, and today you can subscribe for free to this channel and see any of those other over 450 vlogs for DoorDash on food delivery. Talk to you later. You have a great one. May the money tree crash on your stage. And keep smiling no matter what. Talk to you later.